I'm about to burst your perfect idea of foster care. Keep watching. Hi guys, and welcome back to Duncan as well. I wanted to do a little video on ideas of foster care. I know people that's new to foster care, they have this little idea in their head. They're gonna get this child and it's gonna be all rainbows and sunshines, but that is not the way it is. So you decided you want to be a foster parent. That's great. I applaud anybody that wants to do this. I believe that this is what we're supposed to do. I believe that God wants us to do this, but it's hard. It's not easy. It's not for everybody. I mean, I believe that everybody should do something in their own way, whether it be a CASA, donations, or being a foster parent, whatever. But you have to understand that it's not going to be perfect. Child comes into your home, they're most likely coming from a bad place, and it's scary, and it's scary to them, it's scary to you, and they're not just going to fall into place right away. So one of the first things I want to talk about is gratitude. The kids are going to come in and you're going to buy them stuff and show them stuff, and you've got all this new fancy stuff that they're probably not used to, a nice bed, and you're like, oh man, this kid is just going to be so appreciative of it, and they're just going to just think of so much. It's probably not going to happen. All this is new to these kids, so buying their way into their heart, that's not going to work. I'm just going to tell you. Most of them have been through stuff already if they're older, and buying them stuff, no, that's not the way to do it. You need to earn their trust and gain their trust. Just buying a bunch of cool stuff, because that's probably happened to them before. What I find, the kids appreciate the most is just having that one-on-one time with them, just spending time with them. Anytime you can, take them out to eat somewhere and just sit down with them, and it's just you. And if it's just a picnic in the park, or I found food. Food is a good way to gain a child's trust, especially the littles. My wife calls it she calls it breastfeeding through French fries, but I use it. I mean, most of these kids aren't used to having food, around. They probably ate, gas station food and whatever they could find, junk mostly, and they're not going to be used to having good food and good meals, and that to me is one way that I've found that a lot of these kids, they're like, oh man, I mean, I'm getting fed, I'm getting clothed, I'm getting taken care of, and sooner or later they're gonna start appreciating that. But right away, don't expect it. It's just not gonna happen. So yeah, I mean, the food is a great way to start. The kids, case by case, you never know. I mean, you might have them a day, you might have them, for the rest of your life if you choose to do that. But one thing I could say is try not to hold a grudge with the bio family or the bio parent. These moms, these dads, they're going through a lot, and their child was taken from them for whatever reason, and so now you have this kid, and they, you're giving them all these things that they wish they could do, and try not to be so hard on them. They're trying, most of them are trying to fix that and get themselves. This is an awakening for them, and a lot of the time they will straighten up, and a lot of times they won't, and that's something you have to deal with. I mean, you might go. This is probably one of the hardest things for me is And I'm going to tell you, 99% of the people that I've talked to, or pretty much all of them, that say, oh, I couldn't do that. I couldn't foster because I get so attached to the kid. Well, you're supposed to get attached to the kid. That's what you're supposed to do. That's not a good reason for me. I always tell them, if somebody tells me that, I was like, that's not a good reason for me. You're gonna get attached. And when that child leaves for whatever reason, goes home or whatever reason, you're gonna feel a loss. You're gonna grieve because that person was in your life for whatever amount of time. Say, you had a kid for 6 months, and then the next day they're gone. How do you deal with that? Well, you're gonna be sad. You're gonna be grieving. But that right there lets you know that you done your job right. I mean, you did a good job. You loved that child. You took care of that child. You done what you were supposed to do, and you're supposed to feel that. If you don't feel that, then I don't know if you're doing it right. Because, so yeah, if you don't feel that, I mean, I don't know. But you're gonna have to just suck it up, and the way we feel is that when one child leaves, that opens up a door for another child that we're gonna take care of. And I mean, nothing helps heal the heart faster than getting another kid in. And it's always going to be in the back of your mind. You're always going to run across one of their pictures or something like that. But just the grieving process is probably one of the hardest things. But for me, that's not a good reason to say you're not going to foster. Okay, another thing is, don't expect for your house to stay perfect. It's not going to happen. Don't get up in the morning and try to vacuum your living room and pick up all the toys, because it's fixing to get ransacked again. I mean, if you have kids in general, you know that, but a lot of times some of these foster kids, I mean, they were used to doing whatever they wanted to do whenever they wanted to do it, because they didn't have supervision. And a lot of them's not used to having rules and a schedule or a set way of doing things, and it's going to take time for them to get in there. So you get a kid, it's not going to be they're going to fall right in line and do everything perfect like you want. That rarely happens. I mean, out of all the kids we've had, that maybe has happened once or twice with us. So yeah, I mean, you just have to keep at it. You just have to keep repetitive. You have to keep that routine down, and eventually they will catch on. But I see a lot of people give up because of that reason, is they the kids aren't appreciative, and they just won't mind or whatever. But you're gonna have to take the time, and you're gonna have to put the work in. It's not gonna be just bam, there's the kid and they're gonna fall right in line. So sunshine and rainbows, no, it's not happening. Let's talk about say one of the cases doesn't work, and one of the kids, you've done everything you could do, you've tried, you love these kids, you love the kids, but it's just not going to work out. I mean, if it's not going to work out, don't drag it on. I mean, you'll know in your gut. You'll know in your gut if it's not going to work. So the best thing for that kid and for your family is to try to find, talk to your worker and try to find them another placement. Because if it's not going to work out and you know it, it's just going to be, excuse my language, hell. It's going to be hell on you and that kid. And, you shouldn't do that. I mean, you shouldn't do that to yourself. You shouldn't do that to the kid. And, and a lot of times, you second guess yourself. You're like, well, what if we could have done something different? Well, you'll know in your gut And that's going to be part. If you do it long enough, that's going to happen. You know, the first time, you know, I had to do something like that, it tore. I mean, we were tore up about it, because you feel like a failure. I mean, you'll feel like a failure, but some things isn't a fit. It's just not going to work. So I know I'm drawing this out a little bit, but I just want new foster parents to understand that you're not a failure. You know, some things you can't help. You just need to go on. You will find that child that you're meant to take care of. You know, whether you get to adopt that child, or if you're wanting to do an adoption, a state adoption afterwards. Here in Arkansas, I believe it's 6 months. You have to have that child for 6 months. When or after they TPR, terminate parental rights. Yeah, so I mean, if you're doing a foster to adopt situation, and you have kids, and you know, you go through the whole process of having some visits and some weekend stays, and then the kid moves in, and if stuff doesn't work out, you can't drag that out. You need to figure something else out. I mean, you'll know. I believe in my heart that you'll know if that's your baby or if that's your kid, whatever the circumstance is. So don't feel like a failure. It's not perfect. That's why I said I'm going to pop your bubble, because when we first started, we had this, you know, it's just going to be, we're going to help the kids and they're going to appreciate it so much. No, that's not exactly how it happens. I mean, yeah, they're going to get in the groove. They're going to appreciate you. And they're even going to love you. But it's not going to happen the first day. It's not going to happen the first week. You just have to take your time. You're going to have to stick at it. And so the next thing I want to talk about is just generalized visits and appointments and shots and all these things you have to do, pace evals and court appearances, you have to do. I mean, it's just things you have to do. And if you're not able to have a job where it will allow you to do that, or you're stay at home. I'm a stay at home dad now, pretty much for that reason. Is we got to go to the visits, we got to go to the court appearances, and it's hard for people to understand that, and it's a lot of work, so you just got to stick with it. Well, there you go, guys. I don't know if any of that helped you. I just felt like it was weighing on me. I need to get a little bit of that out there, because I don't think a lot of people understand that it's not rainbows and sunshine all the time. I mean, you will have blessed days and make memories with these kids, and hopefully lay a foundation in them that they'll continue on down the road. But I just wanted to get this little video out, and if you liked it, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. I'm going to link the subscribe button up here, and some more videos on tips that I can give. And if anybody has any suggestions or any ideas or questions, go ahead and leave comments down below, because I want to help. I'm here to help anybody that wants or might. My advice may not be worth 2 cents, but it comes from a little bit of experience, okay? So yeah, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share, and as we always say, we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.